Alcock made a throwaway comment about some of the challenges that face women who are acting in big IP, and Play-Doh-eating baboons on the internet decided to prove her point. And I want to talk about how stupid all of this actually is. By reading the exact quote that caused the controversy, because this is one sentence in a Vanity Fair interview that is not focused on any of this. The conversation started by talking about House of the Dragon. I'm a fan of this show. There's a really weird, toxic fan base, in my opinion. She was talking about a lot of the strange attention she got from the show. She said after she did this, she told herself she'd never do another big franchise project. What was the point of the back and forth? The next line was, has the fickle Game of Thrones fandom prepared Alcock for the inevitable backlash she'll face? She said, it definitely made me aware that simply existing as a woman in that space is something that people comment on. We have become very comfortable having this weird ownership of women's bodies. I can't really stop them. I can only be myself. Talk about backlash. We're talking about the dregs of the internet, like 50-year-old men who think it's cute to build a brand around being an alcoholic, or little Gary here. Go with this interview the same way I feel talking about this stuff. I wonder, are those people even worth addressing? People like this will never ever change. They will never stop. They will do the same thing over and over again until someone younger than them replaces them and they fade into obscurity. We really need to care what people like this think? Do we need to respond to them every single time? I don't think I have the answer to that. I'm curious what you think. Talking about here is the magnifying glass that's put onto women in these roles. It's the scrutiny that is applied to these actors. People have looked at that comment and said, oh, she's making excuses, the movie's going to be bad. They've looked at that comment and decided to just mock her. People sitting in their mom's basement covered in Cheeto dust with a monster in hand will look at Millie Alcock and call her ugly. Millie is not the first person to have this done to them. We saw the same thing done to Florence Pugh. They seem to do this for the sole purpose of just trying to put someone down. It's not just about looks, it's about wanting people to shut their mouth and not have opinions. I just made a whole video about Rachel Zegler and the insane amount of hate she gets. Daisy Ridley is a super talented actor who absorbed so much of the hate from the new Star Wars movies. Movies had high-level Disney problems, right? They had writing problems. None of the problems were her fault. She does a good job in the films. This movie should have blown up her career. Now she's making smaller films like We Bury the Dead or The Young Woman in the Sea. Both were fantastic, and she is excellent in both of them. Captain Marvel's a middle-of-the-road 2.5-star Marvel movie. People shit on Brie Larson for like years around this role. Brie Larson is a talented actor. We knew that from Short Term 12. This movie also made $1 billion. There was all this outrage. Everyone still went and saw it. We were literally just mad that the protagonist was a woman. The problem with this movie was a lot of it was kind of forgettable. Also, the problem was this was an Air Force recruiting video. This was a propaganda movie, and nobody talks about that. I'll make a standalone video. I made a video the other day about how the most interesting character in the Transformers franchise got cut for daring to open her mouth about Michael Bay. Jennifer Lawrence is another star that was looked at through a microscope after the Hunger Games franchise. Erin Kellyman was relentlessly bullied and attacked for The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Again, a show that has huge writing problems. It's not her problem, right? She was just in 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. She was fantastic. Y'all did this to Millie Bobby Brown from the time she was a kid. Then she's getting apparently work done at a relatively young age, and people make fun of her for that, men and women. And they don't think, maybe she's doing this because we've been hyper-analyzing her looks since she was a child. People like Melissa Barrera lose their job for opening their mouth about genocide, right? To be on the right side of history. I see people shit on Zendaya on this app as an actor all the time. She is a very good actor. These two are also classy professionals. Despite the director of the drama, Christopher Borgley, being a predator, these two were able to market the film without pretending like they are having an affair. Trash her as an actor, and they trash her performance as Chani. They trash the writing for Chani, right? Because it's a big thing that gets a lot of visibility. With all the terrible writing of The Last Jedi, especially for both of them, and they decided to bully Kelly Marie Tran, and then Disney listens and pushes her out of the third movie instead of just giving her better writing and a more interesting story. And Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix are undoubtedly bad, but again, so much of it is the writing, and a lot of people just dunked on Sophie Turner. I don't feel like I know if Sophie is a great actor yet because of how bad these movies were written. I also think she was miscast, but people destroyed her for this. Didn't like when Jenna Ortega dared open her mouth about Wednesday. Everyone forgot about this, but this was also a joke, and then actors are forced to apologize or backtrack or be hurt in their career. You have actors coming into Disney and getting used as a punching bag or to absorb hatred around racism, like Halle Bailey. This movie should have exploded her career. It did not. Again, a lot of 50-year-old men who haven't thought about The Little Mermaid since they were children, right, suddenly were big Little Mermaid people, like they were big Snow White people to dunk on Rachel Zegler. Like people became big Beauty and the Beast fans to complain about Emma Watson in this. This is one of the last movies she ever made. Emma Watson got burned out by playing Hermione, by being one of the faces of a huge IP. She's talked about that at length. It seems like when you look at Dune and Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon and Star Wars and Disney movies and Supergirl, Millie Alcock might be onto something. But don't listen to what she's actually saying. They don't see the irony in their own actions. They just want to complain and cry and grift.